They say wisdom can open doors that money cannot. But in the case of one young man named Kelvin Ojo, wisdom did not just open doors, it booked a luxury suite, ordered jollof rice, and stayed for free. It all began one sunny afternoon in Ebute City, a bustling town where the air always smelled of roasted corn and traffic fumes. Kelvin arrived with a single traveling bag and a heart full of hope. He was a tall, slim man in his late 20s, with the kind of confident walk that could make you think he owned half the town. His shirt was ironed so sharply it could cut onions, and his cheap wristwatch gleamed like gold under the sun. Kelvin had come to town to see his uncle, Uncle Mike, who had promised to help him find a job. But when Kelvin arrived at the address his uncle gave him, he was greeted by a gateman who looked at him with pity. "Oh, Oga Mike don't travel, oh," the gateman said, scratching his head. "He come out yesterday for business trip. He talk say he go stay maybe 1 month." Kelvin's mouth opened. 1 month? "Yes now," the man replied. "He go Abuja." Kelvin blinked twice, then 3 times. "So, what about me?" The gateman shrugged. "No so life be." Kelvin stood there for a moment, staring at the closed gate. His money was small, too small to last a week, much less a month. But in that moment, something in his eyes changed. A spark. The kind of spark that appears when a desperate man remembers he has a sharp brain. He looked across the road and saw a tall, beautiful hotel building with a golden sign that read, "The Grand Ebute Hotel, Luxury, Class and Prestige." The building shone under the sun like it was made of money. Bellboys in crisp uniforms pushed luggage trolleys, security guards stood proudly at the gates, and guests in flowing gowns and shiny suits walked in and out as if they owned oil companies. Kelvin smiled slowly. "Prestige, ABI," he whispered. "Let's test how prestigious they truly are." He walked confidently toward the hotel, dragging his small bag as if it contained diamonds. When he got to the entrance, the doorman rushed forward and greeted him with a wide smile. "Good afternoon, sir. Welcome to Grand Ebute Hotel." Kelvin nodded slightly, adjusting his sunglasses that cost 500 naira but looked like designer. "Good afternoon," he said, his voice calm, deep, and full of fake importance. "Do you people still have your presidential suite available? I like space when I rest my mind." The doorman's eyes widened. "Presidential suite? Oh, yes, sir. We have it. Please, sir, this way." Inside the lobby, everything sparkled: marble floors, golden lights, a chandelier that looked like the sun was trapped inside it. Behind the front desk stood Miss Linda, the hotel manager, tall, elegant, with eyes that missed nothing. Kelvin walked up to her, smiling like a man who owned the world. "Good afternoon," he said smoothly. "I'm Kelvin Ojo. My personal assistant was supposed to book my room, but I told him to hold on. I prefer handling these things myself. People make too many mistakes these days." Linda smiled politely. "Welcome, Mr. Ojo. Do you have a reservation?" Kelvin chuckled softly, shaking his head. "I told them not to bother. I'm in town for a few days, or maybe weeks, depending on how the governor's meeting goes. I'm still deciding if I'll stay here or at the governor's guest house. But I heard your hotel is decent." He said decent the way a rich man says cheap. Linda straightened her shoulders. We are honored, sir. We can prepare our best suite for you right away. Kelvin nodded grandly. Good. But I don't like noise, I don't like dust, and please, make sure the sheets are Egyptian cotton. My skin reacts to nonsense fabric. Yes, sir. Oh, and one more thing, Kelvin added, lowering his voice. Please, no media attention. Last time I stayed in a hotel, journalists almost broke down my door. I value my privacy. Linda's eyebrows rose slightly. Of course, sir. Kelvin smiled like a king and handed her his single bag. I'll take my room key now. Linda hesitated. Sir, payment first. Our policy. Kelvin frowned and waved dismissively. Aha, madam, don't tell me this hotel doesn't understand protocol. I'll settle everything once my personal assistant arrives from the airport. He handles all payments and logistics. You can even call the governor's office if you want to confirm I'm in town. At the mention of governor, Linda froze slightly. She didn't know if it was true, but she didn't want to risk offending a powerful guest. She smiled nervously. No problem, sir. Welcome once again to Grand Ebute Hotel. Kelvin grinned. Now that's how to talk. And just like that, a broke job seeker checked into one of the finest suites in town, without paying a single kobo. From the moment Kelvin entered room 501, the royal suite, peace left the hotel. Within an hour, the first call came. Ring ring. Hello, reception. Kelvin's voice boomed through the line. What's going on here? Who cooked this nonsense you people called lunch? The rice is too white, the stew too red, and the chicken looks like it went to the gym before dying. Do you people want to kill your guest? I'm so sorry, sir, the receptionist said, trembling. I don't eat this kind of village food. Tell your chef to come here immediately. I need to discuss menu improvement. And please, next time, knock before bringing food. Privacy is everything. Yes, sir. 10 minutes later, the chef, a big man with a round stomach, knocked on Kelvin's door. Kelvin opened it slowly, wearing only a towel, holding a cup of tea like a billionaire. He looked at the chef from head to toe. So you're the one cooking? Yes, sir. Kelvin sighed deeply. You people don't cook food, you commit crimes against taste buds. Do you know what the president eats? Have you ever tasted food in Dubai? The chef blinked. No, sir. That's why. I'll teach you something today. Tomorrow, I want my breakfast exactly how I take it at home: 5 slices of toast, lightly buttered, 2 boiled eggs, not fried, orange juice, freshly squeezed, and coffee brewed from Ethiopian beans. If you bring Nescafe, I'll check out instantly. The chef nodded rapidly. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Kelvin smiled proudly. Good. Now, carry this chicken out of my sight. As the chef left, Kelvin closed the door and burst out laughing. Oh. Kelvin, you are too much, he said to himself. If you no get money, use mouth. Days passed. Kelvin's drama became legendary. He ordered breakfast, lunch, and dinner like a prince. He called the front desk at midnight to complain about the air conditioner. He asked the laundry service to iron his 2 shirts with respect. He even told the cleaners to pray before entering his room because he didn't like negative energy. But every time the issue of payment came up, Kelvin had a story ready. One morning, Linda asked politely, "Sir, your assistant still hasn't arrived. Should we send a car to pick him up?" Kelvin frowned as if deeply offended. No. He's in Abuja handling a sensitive deal for me. Money is not the problem, Madam Linda. The problem is people thinking money is the problem. I can buy this whole hotel if I want, but I'm testing your customer service. Linda's eyes widened. Oh, of course, sir. Please forgive me. Kelvin nodded like a wise king. Apology accepted. Just make sure the water in my jacuzzi smells like lavender. I can't bathe in ordinary water. My skin is too sensitive. Soon, other guests began to notice Kelvin. Some thought he was a rich businessman. Others whispered that he was a secret government agent. He always walked around the hotel lobby with a phone to his ear, saying things like, "Yes, tell the minister I said the documents must reach the president tonight." Or, "Cancel the contract if they can't pay in dollars. I don't deal in coins." One evening, a group of young women staying at the hotel started giggling as he passed. "That man must be rich," one said. "See the way he walks." Kelvin overheard and smiled. "Ladies, please, the air around rich people is contagious. Don't breathe too much of it, you might start ordering champagne by mistake." They laughed and followed him to the bar, where he ordered a drink, on the hotel's tab, of course. By the third day, the bar staff began saying, "That man no big man no. He know they pay instantly, but the manager herself say make we serve am whatever he want." One night, two strange men tried to bring prostitutes into the hotel. Kelvin saw them and shouted dramatically, "Who are these people? Manager! Manager! Since when did Grand Ebute become Grand Brothel? Remove them before I call the governor." The manager ran out, embarrassed. "I'm so sorry, sir." Kelvin sniffed. "You better be. I almost called EFCC." After that night, Linda herself told security, "Anything Mr. Kelvin says, just do it." Kelvin became untouchable. By the second week, Kelvin had become both a mystery and a legend inside the Grand Ebute Hotel. The staff whispered his name in corridors. Some said he was the son of a billionaire who had just returned from London. Others swore he was a secret government agent auditing the hotel for the Ministry of Tourism. A few even believed he was a prophet testing their patience. Kelvin enjoyed every bit of it. He walked around wearing his only suit, a navy blue jacket that had seen better days, but the way he carried himself, it looked like it was tailored in Italy. Every morning he stood at the balcony with a cup of tea and shouted into his phone, "Yes, tell them I'll approve the contract once the figures reach 9 digits. No. No less than that. I don't deal in peanuts." Sometimes he would pause dramatically and sigh. The problem with people is that they don't understand power. "I'm tired of being needed." Down below, the cleaners would stop sweeping to stare at him with awe. After 3 weeks of free luxury living, cracks began to show. The accountant, a small man with sharp eyes named Mr. Felix, cornered Linda in her office. "Madam," he said in a whisper, "this Mr. Kelvin has been here for 21 days. Presidential suite O." He hasn't paid a kobo. Linda frowned. I know, Felix, but he's a very important guest. He said he's close to the governor. Felix's eyes bulged. And so? The governor himself no dey owe hotel. Linda sighed. We can't just embarrass him. What if he really is powerful? What if he actually knows people in government? Felix folded his arms. And what if he's just a big scammer? I smell your human. Linda glared. Felix, don't start. I'll handle it. But Kelvin was 10 steps ahead. That very evening, he strolled into the lobby, pretending to be on a phone call. Yes, Commissioner, I'm still at Grand Ebute. Lovely place, though their staff need retraining, very slow with receipts. Anyway, I'll be meeting the governor tomorrow. I'll call you after dinner. Linda heard him, froze, and smiled nervously. Oh, Mr. Kelvin. Everything all right? Kelvin sighed like a tired millionaire. I'm managing. Your chef is trying, though the seasoning still lacks confidence. But I believe in improvement. Linda smiled awkwardly. We'll fix it, sir. Good. And tell your accountant to relax. I noticed him counting my stay. When I pay, I don't pay like ordinary people. I pay once, heavily. He winked and walked away. Felix nearly fainted. He heard me. Linda whispered, he hears everything. By week 4, the entire hotel staff had learned one phrase. Once my assistant arrives. Every time someone mentioned payment, Kelvin's answer was the same. Once my assistant arrives. When the receptionist asked for card details, my assistant will bring the black card. When the laundry requested payment, my assistant handles all that. When the security guard joked about his long stay, my assistant delayed my schedule. The assistant, however, was a ghost. To keep the illusion alive, Kelvin sometimes pretended to talk to him on the phone. Hello, Chike. Yes. Did you land? You're in Dubai. What of the dollars? Okay, change it to naira when you get to the airport. Don't delay. These people are waiting. He would then hang up, sigh loudly, and say to whoever was near, young people these days, no sense of urgency. The receptionist would nod with respect. Yes, sir. Very true, sir. One Friday night, a convoy of black SUVs drove past the hotel with sirens flashing. Kelvin was sitting at the bar, sipping his drink, when everyone ran to the windows. Look! It's the governor's convoy, someone shouted. Kelvin stood, adjusted his jacket, and said loudly, "Oh, so he finally arrived." All heads turned to him. You know the governor? A guest asked in shock. Kelvin smiled. Know him. My boy. He calls me Uncle Kelvin when he wants advice. But I told him I don't like mixing politics with rest. The bartender gasped. So you're friends with him? Kelvin waved dismissively. Let's not talk about friendship. Let's talk about loyalty. By the next morning, half the hotel staff believed Kelvin Ojo was a political kingpin. The accountant, Felix, had had enough. He decided to test Kelvin. He walked up to his room one afternoon with a fake smile. Good afternoon, sir. We just need a signature for the temporary bill, just protocol. Kelvin smiled politely. Oh, protocol. I respect that. Leave it on the table. Felix handed over the file, but the pen in Kelvin's hand refused to write. Oh, this pen is weak, Kelvin said, shaking it. Felix, go and get me a gold pen. I can't use this cheap biro on financial documents. It's bad luck. Felix's mouth fell open. Gold pen. Yes, Kelvin said calmly. Ask the manager. She knows my standard. Felix walked out, muttering. By the time he returned 10 minutes later, with the same biro, Kelvin had fallen asleep on the sofa, snoring like a lion after a feast. Felix left the room in silent frustration. That night, Linda called an emergency staff meeting. This is getting out of hand, she said. Mr. Kelvin has been here for more than a month. No payment. No assistant. No receipt. Nothing. The chef spoke up. But madam, he said he's friends with the governor. Felix snapped. And I'm friends with Dangote. Everyone laughed, except Linda. Enough, she said. Tomorrow, I'll visit his uncle. He mentioned once that his uncle lives in this city. If the uncle can confirm who he is, we'll know what to do. Felix smiled darkly. Finally. The next morning, Linda dressed carefully, carried the hotel file, and took a cab to the address Kelvin had once mentioned in passing. It was a quiet residential area. When she knocked, a cheerful man opened the gate. Good morning. How may I help you? Linda smiled. Good morning, sir. My name is Linda, manager of Grand Ebute Hotel. I'm here regarding your nephew, Mr. Kelvin Ojo. The man blinked. My nephew. Kelvin. Yes, sir. He's been staying in our presidential suite for over a month. The man burst out laughing. Presidential suite. That boy. Linda looked confused. Sir. The man shook his head. Kelvin came to visit me looking for a job. I traveled the next day to Abuja. I didn't even know he was still in town. Linda's jaw dropped. Job. He said he's a business mogul connected to the governor. The uncle laughed so hard tears came out. Governor Ko. That boy's governor is hunger. At that moment, the gate opened, and Kelvin himself walked in, holding a bag of bread and sachet milk. He froze when he saw Linda. She froze too. For a few seconds, silence hung in the air like suspended thunder. Then the uncle smiled. Oh, Kelvin. Your madam here says you've been staying in her hotel. You didn't tell me you got a job already. Kelvin swallowed hard, his mind racing like a generator. Linda's eyes widened. This is your uncle. Yes, the uncle said proudly. My good nephew. I wanted to talk to you, actually. Your hotel looks like a fine establishment. Please, is there any vacancy for him there? He's a sharp young man. Kelvin's legs almost gave out. Linda stared at him, utterly speechless. When they returned to the hotel later that day, Kelvin expected to be thrown out immediately. But Linda surprised everyone. She called him into her office and said, Kelvin, you have caused me more stress than Lagos traffic. You deceived my whole staff, ate our food, used our soap, and even insulted my chef's rice. Kelvin swallowed. Madam, I can explain. She raised a hand. Wait. Let me finish. She leaned forward. You did all that without paying a single naira, yet none of my staff suspected you were broke. In fact, they respected you. Kelvin blinked. So, you're not angry? Linda sighed and smiled. I should be. But truth is, you're either a criminal or a genius. And I prefer to hire geniuses. Kelvin frowned. Hire? Yes. I spoke to your uncle. He said you were looking for a job. So here's my offer, you'll work here as our guest relations officer. Your job? Teach my staff confidence, presentation, and how to handle rich clients, since you acted like one so perfectly. Kelvin's mouth fell open. You mean I get to stay? Linda grinned. Oh yes. But this time, you'll earn your bed, not trick it. Kelvin smiled slowly, then laughed. Madam, you just made the best investment of your life. From that day on, Kelvin became a legend, not for his deceit, but for his cunning charm. Under his guidance, the hotel became famous for its classy customer service. Guests started saying, "This hotel treats you like royalty." And every time Kelvin walked through the lobby in his crisp new uniform, he would wink at the receptionist and whisper, "See, even when life gives you nothing, act like you own everything." The world believes confidence faster than the truth. In this life, wisdom is greater than wealth, but when wisdom meets opportunity, even a trickster can become a teacher. Because as the elders say, a man who knows how to borrow respect will one day own it. Please let us know where you are watching from, leave a comment below, we love to hear from you. Please like the video and share with your family and friends. Please also subscribe to this channel so we can bring more videos to you. Thanks for being part of us.